Alright, welcome to another episode of Pints of Interest in this particular shirt series. We're very excited to bring this one to you today, one that we've had recommended to us actually from other internet beer reviewers as their favorite of this particular style. We're going to be doing Southern Tier's Imperial Choklat Stout. So if anybody watches what we do on a regular basis, you know we've had a chocolate stout recently. You can watch that episode to see how we feel about it, but we wanted to have this fairly close to when we had that to make a comparison and see how we feel about those particular chocolate stouts. Now, this one is very nice, and it comes with the information that we need to serve it on the actual bottle. So it recommends serving it in a snifter at 48 degrees. Now, interestingly, an Imperial Stout you typically would serve from 57 to 61, but since this is a chocolate stout, they want it a little bit colder for that dessert chocolate taste and not to bring the alcohol through. This is a 10%, so I can see where that would be beneficial. We're actually going to serve this exactly at the 48 degree mark to get the maximum effect out of this. Also, there will be Tom will be drinking from a snifter, and Ryan, because we really want to enjoy this. I'm taking the bullet here and just doing a typical stout glass for this one, which can generally work for this, but we'll see if it makes a big difference in this one. But it's something we're very excited about, so we're going to go ahead and give this one a try, and we'll see you on the other side. We are doing chocolate from Southern Tier. It's an Imperial Stout that cost us $14 and it has an ABV of 10%. The glassware that should be used is a tulip, snifter, or oversized wine glass. The temperature to serve it at is right at 48 degrees based on the bottle recommendation. This beer is released in November, but we can typically find it anytime during the year. Alright, so we're back from trying this very interesting chocolate stout here, Imperial. As per usual, we'll start with our standard stout glass here. I got the honor of drinking from the stout glass for this particular one. As far as the aroma, I love the aroma of chocolate stouts. Sometimes you're going to get a mix as far as what it tastes like, but the aroma of chocolate stouts pretty much always is awesome. It's just a wonderful, wonderful aroma. I felt this was a very luxurious, creamy chocolate that just came through, just like very, very nice, almost like a chocolate milk kind of smell to it. Honestly, there was that creamy in it with just a light undertone of malt, but there was no alcohol, there was nothing spoiling it, no bitterness, nothing like that or anything like that. Didn't indicate that it was going to be too sweet or anything. It just really makes you want to dive into this thing and drink it, because it's just, oh god, it's such a fantastic aroma. I love the aroma of these. If they could make it into like a men's perfume or something like that, that'd be awesome and wear.
Wouldn't it be better if you had a woman's perfume?
No, because the ladies like the chocolate.
You get your significant other to wear it?
Oh no, the ladies like the chocolate too.
Oh, you want to bring all the ladies to the yard?
Yeah, it might be dangerous if your other counterpart wore it, because you might rip her head off and drink her.
Okay.
It's dangerous. Anyway, so okay, Tom, how did you feel about the snifter when you had it?
The aroma to me was a nice sort of, which I don't even know how you do this. It was like a powdery chocolate aroma. So powdery in the sense of it smelled, I guess, like powdered chocolate.
Would you associate with something like Quick, or something that you would necessarily mix into
I guess
chocolate
like a powder drink or something like that.
Sure.
That sort of if you've mixed up the container it's in or whatever that.
Okay. But not cocoa.
No.
Because that has more bitterness than...
Right.
For the taste that I got out of the pint glass here, I got like a subtle low carbonation to it. Wasn't overly carbonated. Had that nice kind of malt build throughout that kind of really blended well with the chocolate that went into the finish. Just a really nice taste throughout. Not an overly creamy mouthfeel for this particular one. It wasn't thin, but it wasn't creamy. It's kind of somewhere in between that. And I also noticed that this one held on a little bit longer at the end with a little bit of an alcohol burn that kept going in the finish. It wasn't the most pleasant way to end. It kind of backs off after you have it for a little bit. but the initial taste really kind of had that in there, and it was slightly off-putting, but the rest of it leading up to it is just a really, really nice chocolate taste for it.
The mouthfeel, I initially was thinking creamy, but I agree, it's not a creamy, it's a smooth. I got a smooth mouthfeel out of this as opposed to creamy. And I felt the chocolate wasn't all that strong, which is actually kind of nice. It blended well with the other ingredients that were in it. It wasn't a punch you in the face. Hey,
it wasn't overly sweet. It wasn't
yeah,
cloying.
no,
it
right,
wasn't bad, and it's it
Right.
did it well, and it was nice, subtle, and blended. Well.
And as I mentioned then also, the alcohol that at the finish, I didn't notice anything really alcohol-wise in the back of my throat like I did with the pint glass, but I did get a nice sort of alcohol warmth. I did notice it there, but the actual sting of the alcohol in the mouth, I didn't really notice.
Okay, so for the snifter, you didn't really get that, and maybe you got that a little bit more.
I did get a little bit more from the
Okay.
pint glass, which was interesting.
All right.
Yeah, in the snifter, I would have to say that the carbonation was a little more pronounced, and for me, it was a little bit too much. Now, I'm being a little nitpicky here, but for a chocolate stout, I want the carbonation down a little lower than what it was. But also, I thought there was a little bit of an alcohol burn at the end that stuck around a little longer than I would have liked. You know, you're left with, you know, after you've drunk it and you're sitting there, you're left thinking, that had a lot of alcohol, not pleasantly chocolatey.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But once again, you know, it's really picking nits because overall, it's a pretty darn good example of a chocolate stout.
All right, so that was our thoughts on these. What do you think you guys would prefer as far as the glass is concerned, Ryan?
Which kind of surprised me. Even though the aroma is better in the snifter, I think the lower carbonation of the pint glass would make me lean towards that.
I have to concur here, actually. This might be the first time we've actually gone against what, you know, the traditional glasses that you're normally going to serve it in. Yeah, I just found the stout glass just backing off that carbonation, even though the aroma is better in the snifter, like you said. For me, it just makes a little bit smoother mouthfeel for it, which is something that I like personally in my chocolate stouts. Tom?
I have to disagree. I enjoyed it in the snifter, so I'm going to go with their recommendation. I didn't mind the carbonation in that level. I mean, yes, you notice it, but at the same time, I didn't focus on it. It wasn't enough to detract from the actual aroma and flavor for me.
All right, so there you go. I think you can really go with either.
Yeah,
it's not really going to disrupt it that much. You're going to get a great experience out of either, which leads us to, how do we feel about this particular beer, Tom?
I would recommend it. It's not the best chocolate stout that I've had. Now, this is an Imperial, but it is high up on the list, and I like it. So I'm going to recommend it.
All right. For me, this one is number 2. I think overall of all the chocolate stouts that we've had, and we've had about maybe 9 or 8 that we've had, firmly entrenched at number 2, easily a recommendation for me. I think this is a great chocolate beer. I really, really like it, and it only pales in comparison to the Rogues Double Chocolate Stout, which is the one that we had a little bit earlier. I felt the Rogues had a little bit creamier mouthfeel, had just a little bit better finish because it was a little drier. That's really the only thing that set it apart. Yeah, carbonation might have been a little bit lower, but that's what really set it apart for me. For me to say that Rogues is still the one that I hold up on high when I think of chocolate stouts. But this will definitely be the secondary one. If I can't get Rogues and I want a chocolate stout, and I can get this, no problem.
Yeah,
absolutely no problem.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I almost feel a little bad for the Southern Tier because had we not had Rogues
That's true. This would be the top one for us.
Our top one
easily.
And it's a very good example of a chocolate stout, and I do enjoy it.
Really, I think the Rogues Double Chocolate and this one are kind of in their own class as far as Imperial chocolate stouts go. I mean, they're just that good. Even if you don't think you like beers that have some sweetness to them, this might be a good one to try because
Yeah, give
even
it a
though
shot.
it's got that really rich aroma, the taste isn't overdone. It just blends really well. You do get the chocolate notes, you do get the malt, you still taste beer, but it mixes well into that.
Yeah, pretty much unless
Really
you
nice
absolutely hate chocolate, and why are you looking at a review
Some-
of chocolate beer at all?
Yeah, some people do. A friend of mine hates chocolate.
Unless you absolutely hate chocolate, you will probably like this.
Yeah, so this is a great one. Definitely recommend it if you can find it, try it. So, for Southern Tier's Imperial Chocolate Stout and Pints of Interest.
Cheers.
Cheers.